So 2020 is over. It was the longest decade I've ever experienced in my life. But 2021 is now starting. So I figured, hey, you know what? We got to bring some people in, and we got to talk about 2021 for Nintendo, because I think it's going to be a pretty big year for them. So I wanted to get some predictions, some weird predictions. So I had to bring in Scott, obviously, for this. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Hi, welcome. I'm excited. I spent a day trying to figure out stuff. It was weirdly hard to come up with predictions because it could be anything. Who knows what's going to happen?
You had some interesting ones last time, so I had to have you on here too to see what you come up with for 2021.
I did repeat some.
Yeah,
because I was proud of some.
And then we have AntDude.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me on the channel. It's an honor. We've been friends for so long, but now I'm finally on the channel. So
yeah, we didn't have too many games to meet up at this past year, so I figured we'll get together in a Discord call and talk about Nintendo.
Good way to end the year, also, I will say.
Yes,
being around friends, I'm gonna like this.
Yes, and we have John from Nintendo Life.
Hi. John, that still feels really weird to say.
Yeah,
like a couple of months doesn't feel right.
John and I played Halo here and there, so I figure, hey, we'll bring him in and we'll talk about 2021 for Nintendo. So I split it up into 3 categories. Okay, I have software, hardware, and Nintendo Online, because I figure Nintendo Online should have its separate thing since we all pay for it now if you want to play online. So we expect Nintendo to improve it, even if it's very slight amounts of improvement. We expect them to do something. So did you guys want to start with the software side of things for 2021 with Nintendo? We know there are some dates for games like Monster Hunter Rise that's coming out in the first half coming up. We have Persona 5 Strikers that's coming up as well, and Bravely Default 2 that's at the end of February. So they have kind of built up the first, I'd say, quarter already for the Switch. And we expect a few other games to be there next year, even though they're not dated, like No More Heroes 3 and Pokemon Snap. But what did you guys think about Nintendo for 2021 when it comes to some of their software coming up? You got any idea for first-party stuff that they could do?
Well, I know 2020, despite all odds, they did pretty good, but nothing super exciting and new. Their big game was a third-party with Hyrule Warriors. So I guess next year, being a big year, they're going to just load up with so much.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And what does everyone think of 2020? Actually, how do we feel about 2020? Just to start things off here.
It was all right. I mean, we had Animal Crossing. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Paper Mario.
I love Paper Mario.
It was my kind of year. You got Clubhouse games.
I was gonna say Clubhouse games.
You got Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. You got that's all I got right now, but I like those two.
That's a good lineup, Scott.
Pretty good.
Yeah. No, I mean I liked Animal Crossing. Paper Mario was okay. Mario 3D All Stars okay. Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which one of my predictions for 2021 was that Pikmin 3 Deluxe would come out again because they forgot about it. But no, I think it was okay. I think 2021 has the potential to be really big, or just like we might just have really big expectations and it's just going to be like another 2020. So I have no idea. But overall, like with the Zelda 35th anniversary and with the Pokemon 25th anniversary, I believe, obviously Nintendo likes their 5 anniversaries. They don't really care about the 10s. Like 30th anniversary for Mario and Zelda, they barely did anything. But for the 5s, like 25th and 35th, they've been doing a lot. So I feel like we can at least expect a lot of Zelda stuff. I don't know if Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna make it next year. I think we kind of expect it to, but I feel like there's potential that it could be like a spring 2022 game, because like we haven't gotten anything of it. And I believe when they announced Hyrule Warriors, Anuba basically said like, hey, you still have to wait a little bit longer. So it's just like that could mean a year, that could mean like a little bit longer after that. But I think at the very least we're gonna have a lot of Zelda stuff this year, and then probably a bunch of other random stuff, at least something Pokemon related outside of Pokemon Snap as well.
I like the idea of Zelda. What do you guys think they do with Zelda this year? Because it's Zelda and Mario for Nintendo are like the big franchises. They did a whole bunch with Mario just this past year, right? Where we got Mario 3D All Stars, we got the Mario Kart Live, we had the Mario. What's the Battle Royale?
Yeah, Mario 35.
Mario 35.
35. So they did quite a bit with that. A lot of merchandising, a lot of talk about Super Nintendo World that's all Mario themed. But like Zelda's anniversary this year coming up, I expect them to do a lot with that.
Well, They always roll out the red carpet for Zelda anniversaries in comparison for Mario. Mario, they don't care, and they went wild this year. So I imagine they would go even wilder for the 35th anniversary for Zelda, because if you look back to like the 25th anniversary of Mario, they just kind of put out that Mario All Stars collection on Wii, and that was kind of it. They put out like a couple of limited edition systems. And then for the Zelda 25th, they had Skyward Sword, they had 4 Swords free on DSiWare, they had Ocarina of Time 3D and stuff.
Started the orchestra,
Symphony.
Yeah, they had the Symphony, and then they had like the Zelda Wii Remote and all that stuff. They go a little, they care a little more about Zelda in terms of like rolling out the red carpet. So I feel like I don't want to predict the collection, because it's just like I feel like that's just basing it off of this year, which Nintendo's unpredictable.
I think the
but
Wii
I feel
U
like a
ports
collection
are an
makes
obvious
sense.
one.
Wii U ports. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea.
At
Do
least.
something with that. Yeah, bring Wind Waker, Twilight Princess over.
I think having a collection of Ocarina of Time through Twilight Princess would be kind of like the best possible option, and that wouldn't take any work at all. Well, it would take some work, but it would be like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are already in HD. They would just have to kind of reformat them to be like fully just on one screen, even though they already are. And then Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, they could port the 3DS ones, but that would take a lot more time. I feel like they might do a Mario 64 and just port the N64 originals, and have kind of like a full collection. But that's a lot of value, though.
They do. Part of me feels like they value Wind Waker and Twilight Princess a lot on their own, because they were sold as $60 Wii U games. And I feel like if they were to do a collection of some kind, it'll probably just be those 2 games, and then they'll spread out the other ones for like a like a later collection of like Ocarina and Majora's and whatever else. So I reckon there will be a collection, but just Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
Maybe Skyward Sword, if they can actually figure out.
Okay, so
I think Skyward Sword HD is going to happen though, like on its own. Like,
would that be its own game? Yeah,
it's the 10th anniversary of that game, and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD came out 10 years after the original versions.
Wow.
I remember, like Twilight Princess was 2006, HD was 2016.
True.
There were those rumors.
Skyward Sword.
Those rumors. Was that a year ago?
Said it was. Anyone basically just announced that like a symphony or something. It just,
it was like, I know what you guys are thinking. Skyward Sword HD, and Nintendo's like,
no, we weren't. Nobody was thinking that.
You think they reworked the motion controls completely? Did they figure that out, or you think we just use the Joy-Con and?
I can see them doing something as dumb as the right stick is angling the sword, but
no, they do the touchscreen like with
that
Mario
sounds like
Galaxy.
that'll be like that
do the
weird
touchscreen.
QWOP game where you like have to like move your feet and legs of your sword. Oh, that'd be strange. I like the idea of a collection though, just because if they do a collection, even if it has a lot of value, they'll throw the 6-month window on it and be like, all right, in 6 months we're not going to sell this anymore, like they did with Mario. But I like the idea of what they did when they did it for the GameCube. They took that kind of collection and move it up, but maybe they throw Wind Waker in there instead of I don't know, what would they take out? Majora's Mask or something? I don't know. I like the idea of a collection though. I think that'd be really cool to see. But do you think all right, so we talked about Skyward Sword getting kind of a remake or an HD release. What you guys have any other weird predictions? I got one for Zelda. I saw this online, and I'm gonna steal it here. What if they went back and they completely remade it, brought it up to current time, Zelda 2 from the NES?
Ooh.
I would like that. I like Zelda 2. It's not that bad, and it could use some fine tuning, but it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, when playing through Link's Awakening, those 2D sections, I was like, man, I want Zelda 2 like this. It's beautiful, and that game is so underrated too. I feel like a lot of people just haven't played it because it's so different to the others.
Well, back in the day, I remember that game. I remember that was the game that you needed like Nintendo Power. That was one of the Nintendo Power games where it's like
that's you get a
Nintendo Power because there are just some really annoying secrets and stuff in the game that make it easier for you. And then some of the bosses were kind of cheap. But if you play through it now, I don't know how well it's aged, but I think it's better than people remember it or have talked about it. Like in a sense,
well, it's just very difficult. That's kind of the main thing, and also like it is kind of like how, and like one of the main little issues with Zelda 1 is that it is a bit cryptic in a lot of ways, and Zelda 2 kind of takes that and then adds a huge difficulty to it as well. So I think honestly both like Zelda 1 could get remade kind of like a la Metroid Zero Mission. Or something like that. I always thought Zelda 1 could like get like a good like kind of like a little bit of an update in that way kind of thing. But Zelda 2 definitely would need it a lot more because that's the one everybody kind of skips over because it's so different.
So All right, so what do you guys think about Breath of the Wild? Do you think that's 2021? Because I kind of feel like they cap off the entire celebration with Breath of the Wild 2 as a release.
Unless they got a big surprise coming, I could see that being their holiday game easy, their big system seller.
Yeah,
if it's not,
yeah.
I will sit in a puddle. I feel like it's gonna be.
They gotta also. I mean, they gotta do like a Switch Lite special edition for Zelda in some way, right? For the anniversary.
Scott mentioned like the Zelda controllers from the Wii. It's amazing they didn't do like a Mario themed Joy-Con or whatever. But if they don't do a Zelda themed Joy-Con or Pro Controller or Switch Lite, that'd be ludicrous.
I feel like some kind of accessory or piece of hardware has to be related to Zelda, right? Because they're not gonna make like Mario Kart Live. Technically, was like their hardware that's Mario themed, right? Mm-hmm. They sold us a RC car basically, but like they're not going to do that with Zelda. Though I like the idea of like a Joy-Con that's like gold with the Triforce on there, something like that. You know,
one of my favorite limited edition systems is the 3DS XL that came out with A Link Between Worlds. That was just fully gold, and in the back it was black, and it had like the inverted Triforce and stuff. I would like something similar to that with the Switch, but I don't know. Nintendo's been kind of weird with what they turn into a limited edition system or release Joy-Cons with, and what they don't. I could have sworn I would have predicted. I think I did predict like an Animal Crossing Switch Lite, but no, they did a regular Switch. I thought a Switch Lite would have been a perfect idea for that, but no, they're kind of weird and selective with it recently. So I don't know. But I think my weird prediction is there will be a free Zelda game for Nintendo Switch Online. I already predicted The Legend of Zelda Four Swords Frenzy last time on this channel, which is a free Four Swords game. They already did a free Four Swords game for DSiWare for the 25th anniversary, so there's precedent here. But I think Four Swords should.
How many people do they jam in that room?
That's the thing. I also have The Legend of Zelda 35, which is the exact same idea as Mario 35, but with Zelda, and that's why Mario 35 is going offline, because they're going to do Zelda 35 instead. Which will kind of work, maybe. There's potential.
The only other thing I really liked that's kind of out there a bit for predictions with Zelda is if they came out with their own Mario Maker style Zelda game for the anniversary. Build dungeons, overworlds, all of this kind of stuff.
That was the main complaint people had with Link's Awakening, was it was cool, but it wasn't good. The Dungeon Maker.
Yeah. It was cool, but it wasn't good.
But I like the idea of that, maybe even merging in with what you're talking about, Scott, with the Four Swords. It's a very more rudimentary dungeon creator that you share online, and people can go through and play together as like almost a battle royale style type game. I'd be curious to see them try to jam 35 people in a game like that.
Well, they obviously want to do like a Zelda Maker type thing, because that was like, I think Miyamoto's request with Link's Awakening was he wanted Mario Maker elements in there. Mm-hmm. So I think it's obviously on their mind. I think the problem is a Zelda Maker is inherently less intuitive than a Mario Maker, because like there's a lot more that has to go into it, like design wise. You know, you can't just hand a kid Zelda Maker and then he designs like a pretty good dungeon. You know, it's just like there's a lot more that goes into it.
And technically they're isometric, so it's not like Mario. It's just 2D, right, where you're running through it. So there's an obvious start and end. Even if you put like those doors in and all that stuff. Whereas Zelda, there's way more that can go wrong when you're trying to create it and make sure that someone else can finish it too. So that is tough to figure out. Zelda is going to be a big focus, though. I think everyone pretty much figures that now.
My prediction for Zelda that's weird is not as weird as Scott. Mine's boring. I'm just thinking they're going to remake the Oracle games next, and maybe finally finish the third Oracle game that's been rumored for so long.
I like the idea.
But was in development and got canceled.
What are you saying, John?
Would this just be the Link's Awakening style again, or
my guess? Just replicate how it was back in the Game Boy days. Just use that same engine.
I like that
in one pack, and then maybe do the third adventure. Just a finally brand new game. My guess.
I would buy that.
People always look at the Oracle games and see them as one game, and they're not. Like they're so different. The dungeons are very different. The stories are different, and they could compile them. But knowing Nintendo, they probably won't. And I don't feel like
they'll sell them separately.
But they are different games.
Well, wasn't there a thing where there was a third one in development as well?
Yeah, that's what.
Because it's the three Oracle.
They could maybe add something. They could maybe add some cut content. Maybe I think if they do like both in one game, I think it would be kind of cool if maybe they maybe add some elements that were maybe cut from a potential third game. I don't know. I think that'd be cool. But like you said, I think.
What I remember, I think the third Oracle game was originally supposed to be a remake of Zelda 1. I think.
Right, yeah.
So you can just
there we go. It's all coming full circle because I already said I wanted that.
So we got a big focus on Zelda.
Speaking of a remake of Zelda 1, my last Zelda prediction was they would bring, because this is my dweeb prediction where it's just, this is stupid, and I never told you guys this, but the Satellaview games could be added to SNES Online. There was a remake of Zelda 1, and then there was like kind of an expansion to A Link to the Past. And SNES Online, technically speaking, is kind of a modern equivalent to the Satellaview, because it's like, oh, you pay a subscription and you get this, like, you get all of these NES and SNES games through the internet on your thing. And they've already shown that they're willing to do kind of weird stuff like that. You know, they just did Fire Emblem, which wasn't a lost game, but you know, it was never released here. But Star Fox 2 was kind of the main example. But I don't know. I think that would be a really cool thing. Even then, like, they could just add it to Super Famicom Online if they don't want to translate them, or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that's really my other Zelda.
Those games are interesting because they relied on like the time of day and even like the date, like was it Tuesday or Wednesday or something. I almost wonder if they could roll in the real-time clock for that. That would be kind of cool.
I think they could, because they did that with Splatoon has the Splatfest. They can do something similar where if you play this weekend, you'll get a story or something.
So they also had like live narration during the Satellaview games. They had like that. They could also redo that if they wanted to.
So we have the Zelda anniversary. It's gonna be a big focus, but the other big moneymaker for Nintendo is Pokemon. And they have the 25th anniversary, and they've been talking this thing up actually over the last, I'm gonna say, month or two now, because we had that some images come out for like the Thanksgiving Day parade and all of these different things. So there's obviously a clear focus. They're doing something, I believe, during like New Year's. They're gonna have like Pokemon show up in like the International Space Station camera and all of they're doing a lot of things right now building up to this year.
There's rumors that they're gonna reveal Diamond and Pearl there because that game deals with space. That would be a very deep announcement.
Palkia is not from outer space. He's like dimensional space.
I don't know. I never played Gen 4. I don't know. I just
so well, yeah. But either way, I think this year, 25th anniversary of Pokemon, they're going to do a lot, whether it's merchandise or the card game, any of that. But it seems like they're going to do quite a bit with the games as well, video games. And they already had Pokemon Snap. I think Pokemon Snap's coming out like first half of 2021 is what I'm thinking anyway. Because they don't want it to overrun what everyone believes right now is a Diamond and Pearl remake. That's kind of what, like you're saying, Ann, is the big rumor right now for this year coming up. And that, you know what, I would love to see those get remade, because I played through, I feel like it was Diamond. I played through it once when it came out, and I have not touched that game since then. So I would really like to go back and try that again. But I know what's going to happen, okay? They're going to announce it. Everyone's get really excited, and then Let's Go is going to show up right underneath of it, and everyone's get real mad.
I would prefer that. I would prefer Let's Go Johto.
Really? Okay, this is interesting.
I don't like Gen 4, but I know they're going to do it.
The thing is, I think Pokemon Company has devised such a brilliant plan where now they have 3 versions of mainline Pokemon, where you have the regular games, then you have the regular remakes, and then you have the Let's Go remakes. I don't think the Let's Go remakes are replacing the regular remakes. It just gives them more stuff to sell every year. Yep. So I think Diamond and Pearl are going to be kind of like Sword and Shield style, I guess. And I can see them coming out.
Really. Like, people don't like the mass don't like Sword and Shield, and if there are going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes, they are going to be like Sword and Shield.
Right.
So if you want those remakes, wouldn't it be better to wait for them?
As opposed to Let's Go, which was pretty successful.
I feel like a lot of people didn't like Sword and Shield because they said it was too easy. And I played through Sword, and it is pretty easy. I will say that. Yeah. And the other thing seemed to be just the overall cut content when it comes to the Pokemon themselves. Like, 'cause some were out, and then they added some back in for DLC and all of this. But I'm not as into Pokemon, so like they were like, there's 300 some odd Pokemon. And I'm like, that's a lot. And then everyone was like, there's like no Pokemon here. So I don't know. But
it kind of felt like because like, oh, this is the first mainline new 3D like home console Pokemon game. Obviously a lot more was riding on it. Yep. Diamond and Pearl is just going to be a remake, and it's obvious it's just going to appeal more to like people who grew up with Diamond and Pearl and love those games. So I feel like weirdly saying not as much as riding on it. So like if it's like Sword and Shield, I don't think people are going to mind. I mean, people will mind, but like I feel like not as many. There won't be as huge of an outcry because they're probably not going to cut all the diamond, like a bunch of Pokemon from
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl. You know, yeah.
I would assume
Yeah,
they'd
that's
add
probably gonna be a
some
pretty
in
faithful
even.
remake, I guess.
Yeah, and like I'd assume they took some feedback. Like EXP share was just on all the time, so that was something people don't like. If you have a little toggle or something, just turn it off. It's like you could technically do that, or just follow along in the story where eventually you get EXP share or something like that. But I think they announce it, the internet freaks out, and it sells really, really well at Christmas either way.
Yeah.
So because they'll release it in November, it'll go on to sell 17, 18 million copies by the next report that we get, and then they just roll along like normal. But
I think the year after that, we're probably gonna get Let's Go Johto.
That'd be cool.
I like the sound of that.
Well, yeah.
Yep, I'm on board with that, which actually means they would have a ton of time to do the next mainline Pokemon game. So I would expect some improvement overall for that game.
That's the thing, you shouldn't.
I should. I was
Be
gonna
disappointed.
Game Freak and the Pokemon Company figured all that out a while ago. But I am excited for Pokemon Snap. I think that could be really cool.
Pokemon Snap's going to be... I realized I'm at a point now where I just don't think I like Pokemon games anymore. I love Gen 5. Black and White's great, and if they remake that, that'd be great. But if... Otherwise, I like the Pokemon world and the characters and the spin-offs. So when like Pokemon Snap, I don't know if they confirmed if that's Bandai Namco making it, but it seemed like that was the case.
Yeah,
Yes.
It is better.
That I'm super excited about. I trust them totally to do that. And if they can throw off any other spin-offs Pokemon-wise next year as surprises, make a new Pokemon pinball, that'd be sick. That'd be great.
That's
that'd be
that's
great.
the thing.
Year.
Pokemon spin-offs have been a little.
They pulled Mystery Dungeon out of nowhere last year. I don't see why they couldn't do maybe even a new Ranger, something.
Yeah.
They did the stupid mobile game, like Cafe Mix, that did nothing. They'll do another one of those.
I like the art style of that. The art style was kind of cute. I didn't care about it other than that. But
Gosh.
that was
Also,
it.
I'm pretty
what
sure
about
Detective
Puzzle League,
Pikachu 2
though?
is a thing. If
Wait,
Puzzle
hold
League
on.
would be good.
Like next year is the
That'd be rad.
31st anniversary of Pound Upon. What better time
Is
than
it
to bring back
really?
Pokemon Puzzle?
It's gonna be the 36th anniversary of Mario too. What are they gonna do? They're gonna do so much. I think Pokemon spin-offs have kind of been in the gutter ever since like Pokemon Shuffle. I think like they just kind of do mobile stuff now, and
They slowed
you know.
down their mobile.
And the remake of Mystery
they're
Dungeon
starting
was
to
like
do-
something
they-
cool.
Yeah, Mystery Dungeon is at least something like, oh, it's on a console and it's, kind of neat that they're doing that. And Pokemon Snap is happening. So I'm hoping that to see, because like I just like
Pikachu 2. That's a thing. Everyone
I don't know
forget.
if that's a sequel or a expanded port.
I know
or
they never
something.
released that, but that'll probably be next year.
I have no idea.
Yes,
But no, I'm excited. I'm excited for the spin-off.
I like the
potential.
idea of a new Pokemon pinball. That'd be pretty cool to have that. I
why
do
not?
wonder how they'd be able to sell that for like a $60 price, because they might try that for a pinball game. That might be kind of hard. Maybe they just put it out on the eShop like they did with that Kirby game they did
Yeah, that'd be
recently,
cool.
where they just dropped it. Something like that. Doesn't it? It could be a $20 game, sure.
They could have whatever. The people that make the Zen pinball games develop it. They could outsource it to them. I could expect that. I think that's possible.
Okay.
Because
So
I don't think they'll make any new spin-offs, anything new that we haven't seen before. So I think they'll just go back to old properties, old spin-offs, and just do sequels if we are expecting a lot from Pokemon next year.
I think we could see
What
3 or
about,
even 4 titles out of them. Not all like big ones. Probably 2 big ones, like a Snap and Diamond and Pearl remake, and then maybe 2 smaller ones like a pinball. So
I wrote down as one of my wild card, probably not going to happen. But what do you guys think about a Pokemon Tournament 2?
I'll take it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I would see it announced and be like, that's cool. And I just gotta move on. I don't know. I didn't get into the first one.
It did surprisingly really well on Wii U. Like I think it technically outsold Street Fighter V in some cases. Like that first week or something like that.
Had a pretty good controller. The Pokken controllers is not bad.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think that is potentially get like announced within the next year or so.
Okay. And there's another anniversary this year coming up too. I believe it's the Metroid anniversary, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we get one game, I'll be amazed.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I think there's going to be at least one Metroid game in 2021. I'm not sure which one it'll be. All right. So I'd like to say it's a trilogy, but Nintendo doesn't want to announce a trilogy for some reason. They're supposed to announce it a while ago. They still have not done it. So here we are not talking about trilogy, apparently.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
they
think a
forgot
2D
the anniversary was
Metroid-
coming up, and they're like, we should probably wait on that.
I think a 2D Metroid is possible. Mercury Steam has been off of They technically have been off of Samus Returns for a while. Like I think when that got announced, they were like, "Yeah, this has been done for like 5 years or something like that."
Yeah,
they were like,
I still don't want to spoil it, I guess, but there are elements of the end of Samus Returns that do tease future Metroid games. So I think Metroid 5, I guess we would call it.
I think Mercury Steam is the new 2D Metroid developer. That's just how it's going to be.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just think. I think it makes sense. It's been 3 years. Well, it's going to be 4 years since Samus Returns. I think there's obviously there's definitely going to be, whether it's a port of Samus Returns, I think people would definitely accept that. But it's been 4 years.
I feel like they've waited. So. Yeah, they've waited too long. I think for that. Like they should have done that the following year, or when they started basically getting rid of the 3DS.
Instead of put it out on 3DS.
Yeah, they should have done that. That's correct.
The 3D was really good, but
they made that Castlevania game on 3DS, which got HD port on 360. So they could very well take that. It's built on the same engine as Samus Returns as well, so it's possible.
Okay.
My dream for Metroid for a long time has been get From Software on it. I feel like that would be perfect for the Metroid series.
Yeah. Wow, that would be interesting.
A 3D Metroid by From Software, that is my dream. And I
wow. Really difficult? Make it difficult? Like I said, okay. Yeah, that would be...
a giant crate in there, yeah.
That would be interesting to see how that would go.
You expect that to get announced and released this year, and Metroid Prime 4 is still like there's nothing else.
I think 2D Metroid could actually be announced and then released this year. I do believe that's possible, and I almost wonder if they would just show Metroid Prime 4 or just a cinematic trailer or something.
Info. I think we'll get info, but that's it.
We'll get a picture of someone working on it,
So, because they announced that was getting rebooted for development. That was the beginning of 2019.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and they're still hiring people for the team.
Yeah, so that's gonna end up going
and
from
it's legitimately big positions too. It's just we need a director.
So that's gonna end up being one of the first real big games for the generation for the Switch announced, and then that's gonna go all the way to one of the last games that gets released for the Switch, we assume. So that might be a 2022 game then. I hope in 2021 they actually show us something with it. A cinematic trailer, something, another PNG, that's fine too. It's just anything.
They changed how the 4 looks.
They need to. That 4 didn't look that great. That's my one complaint with Metroid Prime 4 so far. I don't like the logo. But no, I honestly think it's going to be a 2023 game. I think we're going to see it in 2022.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm
not holding out. I said Breath of the Wild 2 was going to come out holiday 2020 last year, and I'm not going to be. I'm going to be super pessimistic now from here on out. I'm not expecting anything this year. Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out 2022.
So we've gone through most of the anniversaries here.
Donkey Kong's anniversary. I'm not going to let this go. They're building up.
They're building up.
They're building up to something. Country. They were building up to Ape Escape.
Oh boy! And then they sent him into the forest.
No. Oh, God.
That was sad. That was a sad tweet, by the way.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want it to happen. It's Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary.
Okay.
They could do. Then I don't know what they would do.
Donkey Kong 35, 40, Donkey Kong 40.
Do you know what I miss?
I would like that. I would like that. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be awesome. Just the original just
the original arcade. Yeah, just the original arcade one.
Even if they just put Game Boy games on the Switch and have Donkey Kong 94 as the only game on there, that's fine with me, man. Something.
If that gets a remake, that would be great. I'd be so into that. I mean, that game still plays amazingly, so it doesn't really need one. But still,
what were you saying, John?
Never thought I'd say I miss Mario versus Donkey Kong. Just the original concept of the first game.
Can we get a new 3D Donkey Kong? Ant, can we do that?
We could. You can't get much worse than Donkey Kong 64, so you can definitely get another one.
A 3D Donkey Kong developed by Ubisoft, because they did the Donkey Kong Adventure and Mario plus Rabbids. They can do it.
You're right. Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
You can do it.
No.
I actually wrote down in my predictions: Mario versus Donkey Kong is reborn, but just as Mario Cross Donkey Kong, and it's the same damn game. That's Mario versus Donkey Kong usually is.
So you're pretty set on a new DK game then, Ant. You want something?
It'd be great. Another Mario versus Donkey Kong would be good if they do it like the old Game Boy games, not the mini Mario stuff. if they do a third country game and wrap up the fake trilogy everyone has in their minds, something.
I think with Retro on Metroid, maybe they can get like Monster Games to work on Donkey Kong.
Retro had to be working on something before Prime 4. I doubt they were just sitting twiddling their thumbs for 3 or 4 years after Tropical Freeze.
There were rumors that they had some projects canceled and stuff, and I think Nintendo.
There's that robot that was in a picture on Reggie's desk. I
have a feeling retro is they're protected pretty heavily. I would say I think they have a lot of projects that do get canceled at times.
Yeah.
That don't, like, there was rumors about them working. It's online. There were rumors about them working on a singing RPG or something at one point.
There's that. There was
like,
rumors
what is
of
that?
Star Tropics. They've been rumors for everything for Retro.
Scott mentioned Monster Games. I think they just make NASCAR games now, don't they?
Oh,
I wrote down instead of Donkey Kong, they're gonna work on a new Excite game called Excite Next.
Yes!
All right,
man, that'd be amazing.
Good. Excitebots was great, and
it was so good.
Okay, so we've gone through some of the anniversaries here. We got some big games for the end of the year with a new Pokemon, a new Zelda of some kind, some big games there. But do you guys have any games that you wanna throw a prediction out here before we move into hardware? Just any Nintendo stuff.
They're building up Kirby like crazy.
Okay, I had a feeling Kirby was going to come up for me.
Naturally, Ant would be the one to bring up Kirby. 3D, yeah. But yeah, they've been hyping up Kirby like crazy. After Star Allies was done, like the director made a post on something saying they were readying the next. Like, I forget the wording they were using, but they're acting as if the next thing they're working on is supposed to be big.
Yes.
Like Star Allies was the end of the original Kirby cinematic universe, and they're starting up the next phase.
It sounds like it's big enough to where they're also going to position merchandise next to the game.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, Kirby's anniversary isn't until 2022, but one of the directors at HAL or whatever came out and said 2021 there should be some exciting stuff. So
yes, yeah, I think you're right.
It has to be 3D. I think it has to be 3D
platform or Air 2 or both.
A 3D, interesting. Okay, I like the sound of that.
They could do like a Mario Galaxy style where it kind of shifts, or like a Sonic modern Sonic Boot style where it's just like it shifts between 2D and 3D sometimes or something. Yeah. But I think a full on 3D Kirby. There's no reason why Kirby can't work in 3D. So it's weird that they waited this long.
That has like summer game written all over it. Like a nice Kirby game, like a 3D Kirby game. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
like where Paper Mario was this year.
Yeah, the last summer Kirby game was Planet Robobot, I think. So, right. They released them during the summer.
Yeah.
And they've had so much time to work on it. Star Allies was so low effort in the grand scheme of things that I imagine they're putting a lot of effort into this next one.
They've gotten a lot of that engine. They've gotten a lot out of that engine, though, with these releases. Yeah. Yeah.
What about John? You got any game prediction you want to throw out there?
Yeah.
Something good?
I'm not done with DK. I'm always on DK.
Okay.
I feel like Mario Odyssey 2 isn't a thing. I feel like EPD Tokyo. They also made Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, which is a great game, and I feel like they are itching to get back on DK. So I think the next EPD Tokyo game is just going to be like a Donkey Kong Odyssey sort of game. Like
I like that. I like the sound of that. That would be great.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Because Mario Odyssey 2 is something that everybody's like, oh yeah, it's definitely happening. But it's like one of those things that everybody's saying it's happening, so that just means it might not.
Yeah,
I like the sound of that. I wonder
it's going to be just an exact repeat of Tropical Freeze when that was announced.
I wonder what the mechanic is they throw in there. That's interesting because they always like to come up with like weird mechanics for these kind of games. Like
if they do a tag team mechanic from Donkey Kong Country in 3D, you can probably get some mileage out of that.
Okay, that would be pretty cool to see something like that. A big budget, big scale DK game. That would be cool. 3D. What about you, Scott? What do you got?
Let's see. I got on my list here. Mario Golf is going to happen.
I was going to say a Mario sports game. All right, yeah, Mario Golf.
I had the name as Mario Golf Royal Tour because they always have tour in the name, and I just looked up words and I went with that one. It's going to be themed around royalty. I don't know how, but it's going to be in July. And it's just gonna be another Mario Golf. I like Mario Golf. I'm cool with that. Camelot has been off of Mario Tennis Aces for quite a while. I think there was a rumor that they were working on Mario Golf, and then they're in the beginning stages of bringing back Golden Sun, which would also be really cool.
That'd be cool.
But it just makes sense for Mario Golf because the other Mario sports developers, like Next Level, just finished up Luigi's Mansion. I feel like there's potential that they'll go back to Strikers, but
They need to.
It's a little too soon. It's a little too soon right now. And then Mario Baseball is Bandai Namco, which they're huge. There's potential, but I feel like Mario Golf makes sense next.
I think you're right with Mario Golf. Yeah.
Mario Golf on the 3DS was great. The company fell off when they did Ultra Smash, but Aces turned out to be pretty good after a lot of updates.
Do you think they have like a full, like a good single player? Like I'd say the Mario Tennis Aces had a better single player than I was even expecting. Kind of. I mean, it wasn't amazing or anything, but it was more than I thought they'd give us. So I'm kind of thinking they might do something like that with golf as well.
It's going to be a similar effort to Mario Tennis Aces, I think. I wasn't the biggest Aces guy, but it was obviously a step in the right direction, regardless, for the series, and like they're actually like coming up with like really cool gameplay mechanics and whatnot. So like I feel like it's going to be another step in the right direction for like Mario Golf. There's going to be some cool mechanics that are literally like, oh man, this is kind of rethinking how you're playing and all of that. So yeah, I feel like, and there's going to be a single player and whatnot. And there's probably going to be like Mario Golf on the 3DS also had kind of like, they did kind of lean more into DLC, because I think it was like $30 and you could buy like a $10-$20 season pass, I think, at the start.
Yeah. And then they had the online tournaments that they were doing like every week or whatever for cosmetics.
Yeah. So I think it's probably going to be like Aces, where it might be like free DLC and stuff, where it might start off a little barren, but as time goes on, you get a lot more characters and areas to go and tournaments and whatnot.
Okay. And they for sure listened to feedback on Aces too. Like when it launched, there was no CG opening, and people were like, "Oh, it's really weird." And then a year later, they put one in, and it was pretty low effort. Like they used voice clips from like Mario Party 1 or something, but still, they put it in there. So clearly, they're listening. So
they're really getting a lot of mileage out of those Mario Party 6 voice clips. They're just like, I mean, like, if it launched like that, I'm sure I would have been like, yeah, Mario Tennis Aces is great, but it kind of got me to fall off of it. But they definitely do listen to feedback, so that should kind of like be good for like the next Mario Tennis and Mario Golf and whatnot. I think Camelot's kind of back in the swing of things.
I'll throw Mario Kart 9 out there just because I feel like we're gonna do it like every year now until they do it. It's been a bit since we've had, because obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is from the Wii U, so
it's 7 years old. I'm ready for new I'm ready for new tracks.
I think it's about time.
They're sitting on so much money by not doing another one. Like Mario Kart 8 is still like
selling.
One of the highest selling games every year across like all consoles.
It's sold in the UK. It sold more in 2020 than it did in 2019.
That's insane.
That's the thing, though. Like, do they have to make one if it's just going to keep?
I guess not. But like,
they could finally pull the trigger.
Like, oh, this did so well.
But you know why they should release it sooner rather than later is because if they release it sooner, that means that they can do a deluxe version for the Switch too. If it releases too close, it'd be considered cross-gen, and they'd be like, "Oh, it has to be backwards compatible. I just bought it. Well, it came out 2 years ago. Just buy it again with the deluxe on it."
They could finally pull the trigger and do Smash Kart, like their big Nintendo.
Everyone's here.
Pull the trigger on that one.
Is that their big? Is that like their big mechanic? Is that everyone legitimately is just there from Nintendo's history? They just throw everyone in.
It would be very odd, because what do you brand that as, kind of thing? Like, do they brand that as a new series? Is it just Mario Kart
Ultimate
All-Stars?
So my only reason for thinking that'll happen, because everyone's like, how do you do better than Mario Kart 8? Everyone thinks that's the ultimate Mario Kart. How do you possibly make a 9? You just do something different. You pivot instead of trying to I don't know how they do it, but I think that's how they
do. They then have like Smash reveals kind of for Mario Kart going forward, where they put like Snake in Smash.
That you would never get, like, oh man, it's the Sun Race FX car. Oh my god.
Can they put Crash Bandicoot in there?
Finally get into a crossover game,
It has been 7 years since Mario Kart 8, but I would still rather see another racing franchise than just Mario Kart again on the Switch, like F-Zero.
F-Zero.
No.
Diddy Kong 1080 snowboard.
I'd be down. I think F-Zero has potential to get developed by like Bandai Namco or something like that. They worked on Mario Kart 8, so like I feel like they might be a good developer choice, or Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft and Nintendo work together pretty well, honestly. Like whenever there's collaboration, they did Star Fox better than Nintendo has done in ages. At least like, taking care of the IP. Starlink isn't really Star Fox in the end of the day, but they do well with the characters and the world and whatnot. But I think in terms of Mario Kart, I also kind of think a Mario Kart might come out and be the holiday title. I also think I wrote down Mario Kart Live Home Circuit will get Peach and Yoshi models. hold me to that. That's my best prediction.
DLC, I guess we can call it.
I think it actually sold okay.
More releases, yeah.
I think it sold all right.
There'll be more models. Yeah, I think they'll cap it off at that. Give it so then you can have 4-player multiplayer, and it's not just Mario, Luigi. So it's like I feel like there'll be
$400 to play the Mario Kart 4-player circuit of your dreams.
Yeah, that game was kind of fun for an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now it's in my closet. It's a cool idea, but
the camera really. If you show people who don't really play games, the camera trips them out real bad because they're like, look down at the Switch and like it shows them and they're like, what? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it looks like 2021's gonna be pretty big for Nintendo in terms of software. By the way, that means so in March we'll have completed 4 years of the Switch.
Yep.
That does not feel like it's been that long with the Switch already. So we'll be in the 5th year. That's generally when you see a lot of software come out. So expecting quite a bit.
I do have like a couple other things here if I want to just run through them real quick.
Sure.
I got Super Mario Party 2. It'll come out.
Yeah.
And it'll be better.
Probably yes.
Yeah. They're on a good they're on a good track with Mario Party 1. They just
I feel like they're going to show that game. Everyone's going to think it's DLC at first when they're showing it, then they'll reveal that it is the sequel and everyone's just going to be like, "Oh, great."
Don't worry guys, this is the time they're going to get it right.
ND Cube has so much potential, yet they disappoint me almost every time. They need to they always have some good concepts, but they never follow through with them. And they just did Clubhouse Games, but they're generally working on multiple projects at once. Like the same year Mario Party 10 came out, they released Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
Oh,
so
good.
They're always working on multiple things. So I think Mario Party 2 is going to happen. A Splatoon spin-off, and it's going to be a rhythm game. Splatoon's too popular, and I don't think
they got like the Hatsune Miku devs to just do another idle game, but with the sisters.
A rhythm game, interesting.
I think I don't know. Splatoon is super
what if it's
popular.
Rhythm Heaven? Rhythm Heaven Splatoon.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I also wrote down Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix Platinum, which is
not a bad name.
Just going to be a new version of Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix with more games, with more stuff. Nintendo Daycare. They're bringing back the DS games. They did Clubhouse. They did Brain Age.
Nintendogs was pretty popular, wasn't it? Wasn't Nintendogs pretty popular? I'm surprised they haven't done that. Yeah. Interesting. Especially with like Animal Crossing being so popular on the Switch, you feel like they would have an audience there for Nintendogs as well. Just overall.
I think they're making strides to bring the handheld only franchises over to Switch. Like I said, Brain Age came over, which I also said Brain Age will come over to North America, but it will be digital only. Let's see.
Wario Land would be nice. That's not the portable.
I think there's actually an issue with Brain Age in America. I'm pretty sure Nintendo got sued for their education, like not actually working as advertised. So I think that's the reason it can't be localized.
Wow.
Well, I imported it, so it's fine. Because it came with a cool stylus. I was just like, I'll do that. NES Remix. It'll be called Super NES Remix, but it won't be about the Super Nintendo. It'll just be called Super NES Remix.
That sounds right. That sounds correct.
They'll combine both games into one thing, even though they kind of already did that, but it'll be basically the same thing. The really legendary Starfy by
okay.
Yeah. And it's developed by SFB Games, the guys that did Snipper Clips. I have no reason to believe that. And then Advance Wars Recharged is what I wrote.
Advance Wars Recharged.
Yeah. Oh, and Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 come over to North America because they never did.
Oh, those ports are trash,
for like 5 years now.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
It was a launch title in Japan.
Yeah,
it was a launch title in Japan, and they never. Yeah, but I don't know. There's no reason why it shouldn't come over. Well, there you go. And then
we could see a Fire Emblem.
Yeah. I wrote down. Remake. Fire Emblem echoes the genealogy of the Holy War one. That was in Japan.
Sure. That one.
One of them.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
And Bayonetta 3 is not coming out this year.
All right, that's going to be really funny if it doesn't come out, because every year we're like, it's coming out this year.
At least No More Heroes is happening. I'll be upset if that somehow gets pushed back to next year.
I think that's first half too. No More Heroes 3. I think that's going to be first half of 2021.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. In terms of announcements, Xenoblade Chronicles X2. They're jumping straight to X2.
Are they going to port X or just bring X2?
They're gonna wait to port X1. Like what they did with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because that came out, and then they did Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So they're going to do Xenoblade Chronicles X2, and then after that, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Let's see.
X ends on a really big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then
so
the
they
guy's
have
like,
to do a
"Wow,
sequel.
I'm still alive." And then the credits roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I wrote down Eternal Darkness, developed by Koei Tecmo.
We're not
That's
allowed
one
to
of
have
my
that.
favorite ideas because that's stupid, but it makes sense because they do Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
So they can do Eternal Darkness. Famicom Detective Club gets localized because
That'd be
they're
cool.
doing the remakes. And Star Fox by Next Level Games. That gets announced.
Oh gosh.
All right.
Never
Star Fox
releases
Adventures 2, right? Is
that
it
be-
going Star Fox
Maybe.
Adventures?
Because they're not opposed to doing stuff nobody wants.
Yeah, there you go. Why not take a shot at it? See what happens.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted Metroid Prime Federation Force, and they did that, and it turned out okay. But I think that's it in terms of. I'm sorry, I very much went. I kind of threw everything at the wall for my predictions, but those
That's good.
those are all
And
my
you got
games.
everything I wrote down there, Scott, apart from one. So I also got Punch
Yeah.
Out the Ring of Saturn, which is Punch Out in
Ooh.
Space.
That's a good name.
I like
Punch
Punch
Out
Out. I like
between
Punch Out
everyone.
coming back.
Yeah.
Isn't
Would
that
be-
actually
would
the
be-
plot of like that not official Punch Out 2, like Power Punch or whatever? Isn't that just like
Yeah.
in space? We just do that
Where
again.
Mike Tyson goes to
That'd be cool.
space.
Like, I think
Ah.
Next Level's great animation, and they've come so far with Luigi's Mansion 3
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
it'd be great to see them sort of use their expertise on a new Punch Out. But at the same time, I feel like coming back to Punch Out is kind of like a missed opportunity for that studio. So if they were to do a new Punch Out, I'd rather someone else do it. But I'm just not quite sure who though.
It's interesting because like their animation works so well for Punch Out because Punch Out needs that animation, for like the gameplay. But I don't know, maybe Monster Games. Maybe
So-
they can do it if
Why
they want
Monster
to.
Games?
I don't know. They're kind of all over the place.
When all
They
else
can do
fails,
whatever.
if Monster Games and was it Grezzo, the
I
2D
Grezzo,
Zelda
right.
guys? There you go.
Yeah.
Grezzo does Punch Out. I'd be fine with it, but that would just be maybe Bandai Namco.
I think
They're
Monster
kind of the
Games did, like,
go-to.
Monster Games did those Returns 3DS levels, and like they helped with Xenoblade, and you're like, put on everything.
Yeah, put them on Cena, to put them on Pokken Tournament 2. Bandai Namco doesn't need to make that.
So I
they
will
can do
throw-
whatever.
I will throw one more out there because I have it written down here. Next year is also 2021 is also the 25th anniversary for the Persona series. So I think at least Persona 4 Golden will head to the Switch.
That'd be not Persona 5. That'd
Well,
be great.
I don't know. They might, but I think what they're gonna work to do also is go back and get some of the older Persona games and bring them up in a collection. And I think they might just take that and put it everywhere, and take Persona 4 Golden and put it on all the platforms as well, which would include the Switch. So I think there will be Persona getting thrown all over the place next year as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the weird thing, John. It's like Persona 4 Golden isn't on PS4. It's on
It's
PC,
really
it's
weird,
on
yeah.
PS4 for some reason.
Well, Atlas. Oh my gosh, they talked about.
It was so weird. They were like surprised that Persona 4 did well.
They
on
put it
Steam.
on.
Like, what
they
do you
they moved
mean?
it over to. They were like, oh, let's just move this over to Steam. It's $20. We'll see what happens, and it jumps right to the top of the Steam sales charts. And they had to go to their investors, and they were like, we didn't know that was going to happen, so
Idiots.
we're going to start moving
Idiots.
stuff now. And that was it. So
I
it's-
reckon not only is it going to come to all platforms, but specifically, I think Game Pass is going to get every Persona. Because recently we've seen
That'd be
them get
pretty
all
big.
the Yakuzas. Dragon
Yeah,
Quest
they
came to Game Pass.
Yeah.
What else? There's this bunch of Japanese. Nier Automata. There's
Yeah.
like, a bunch of Japanese games on there.
Kingdom
They'll-
Hearts.
Crazy.
Chunk
Kingdom
of
Hearts?
Crazy.
yeah, they'll
Yeah,
they'll throw
Final
some money
Fantasy.
around for that. Absolutely, yeah. And Sega will take that money unless Microsoft just buys Sega next year. So that could happen too.
Persona 4
Microsoft
is
have, like,
better
a
than
good-
5. So that'd be great.
Sega and Microsoft have a pretty good partnership, at least with like Game Pass stuff and just like putting their stuff out on Xbox. Or at least like backwards compatibility wise, Sega has been really supporting the Xbox in terms of that. So I feel like, but Atlas is pretty like Sega owns Atlas, but Sega doesn't really control Atlas that much from what it seems. Atlas kind of does whatever Atlas wants because I feel like Sega's pretty dumb, but Sega's not dumb enough to Sega's not dumb enough to be like, don't put Persona on other things.
Basically, someone has to come in and get Persona on another console, and then I think basically the floodgates will open and they'll just start putting it wherever. So if it does take Microsoft to show up and drop some money and put it on Game Pass, then they're like, oh, also let's put it on the Switch because, you know, it's sold 17 million units in Japan, so we should probably do that. Yeah, that's probably going to force their hand then. So I do want to move over to hardware. John, any time if you have to head out is fine.
I'll stick around for 10 more minutes.
Okay, that works. So let's move over to hardware. I don't know how long this section is going to be because I think there's only, for me anyway, I was trying to think, there's like 2 or 3 possibilities with this one, but there's been for a little while now a rumor, actually since the Switch came out, there's been a rumor for a Switch Pro. Now I think about it, like we were talking about in the factory that there was like another Switch or something being shown off, but there's been talks about a revision of some kind for the Switch in 2021, and we had the Switch Lite alongside of Link's Awakening, right? That was last year. So people are kind of thinking, okay, well, we're going to the 5th year for the Switch. It's about when they would take their handheld and do maybe even one of their last revisions. When did the new 3DS XL came out? Right towards like the back half of the 3DS's life.
That was 2015.
Yeah. So like now is about the time where if it was a handheld, we would basically just expect them to revise it. But this is like that handheld console hybrid situation.
Well, I think they kind of have to with like the hardware problems they're facing with the current Switch. I think Nintendo themselves, regardless, they at least want to do like an updated revision kind of thing to just get better controllers and better at least like Joy-Cons that are not going to cause as much of a problem for people. Whatnot. And also like, yeah, you know, like you're getting to a point where like, you know, there are upgrades you can make, you know, you can upgrade the screen and whatnot. I don't think it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be like a new 3DS style upgrade where it's just going to be like, you know, like, oh, it'll be improved hardware, but it, you know, not a ton of games are really going to take advantage of it that much. There's not going to be like, I don't think there's going to be exclusive like, oh, games only for this Nintendo Switch.
Right. Okay. Yes. I think, yeah, go ahead, Ant.
I was thinking that the model I hope Nintendo takes in the future is to go more with like the mobile phone approach, where it's just the same machine that just gets iterated on over time. Like I don't think the current consoles or PC gaming in the future is going to like really leave an impact of like, oh, look how powerful this is compared to Switch. But some of the cracks are starting to show. Like just the Doom Eternal took so long to hit a state. Yeah. Looking at next year, a game I'm looking forward to, Balan Wonderworld. They're showing off the Switch version, and it looks noticeably weaker, and I don't know how much I'm willing to sacrifice anymore for a very obviously weaker experience. I think Breath of the Wild 2, there's legitimate fears, because the first game was fantastic, obviously, but had issues with frame rate in some areas. Load times for certain multi-plat games are atrocious. And I think that's the approach, where they should just slightly tweak it and make it better to stay up to... it'll still be behind the curve, but just up to snuff, just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to compare what's essentially a tablet to a $500 console, but you go from PS5 to Switch, and it's jarring at times. Like you go from Spider-Man, a game that doesn't really load, and then you boost up a game like I don't know, like Monster Hunter Generations on Switch, which takes a little while. It is a jarring experience, and right now they've cornered the lower market with the Switch Lite. They're the cheapest console on the market right now. So where do you go from there? Like they've already got a cheap Switch, a semi-affordable one. I guess the next step is either replace the current Switch or just go luxury, like with a Switch that has a price tag something of like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X.
Yeah. I mean, they could go up to like a $400 mark if they want to just jam more technology in there and make it faster, and makes games that get blurry at times when you're playing it not be blurry, like, you know, while you're playing through it, so it doesn't have that dynamic resolution of 540p or something. But I mean, like you said, John, they could go even cheaper. They could make a little PlayStation TV Switch. They could do that. They could release it and be like, it's $100.
Really a good idea? Look at what happened with that.
I kind of think they're going to basically do what they did with the 3DS. They had the 3DS XL, and then the new 3DS XL came out, and that 3DS XL just stopped showing up in stores, and eventually it was just gone. I think they're going to do that with the Switch. I think it's going to be called the new Nintendo Switch, and I think it'll be enough of a jump to where games that have obvious frame rate issues or resolution issues are just smoothed out, and they'll save the big leap for like 3 years from 2021 when they eventually move on to the Switch 2 or whatever they call it.
And I feel like they can market it the same way Xbox sort of did with the Series X, where they just show all these old games now
Yes.
load a lot better, have much better frame. Like they just do that. Not
It's
you
a
don't even
drop-in
need new
replacement.
hardware, like new software. They
Yeah.
can probably attach Monster Hunter to it and Breath of the Wild 2. But if they just show all these old games just running a lot smoother and more on par, like if they get Bethesda to update Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal to look better, and they'll have the gyro controls and it's still portable, like I think that'll
If they take that and move it to like 60 frames per second,
Yeah.
I think that would be, even if it still looks kind of the way it does, I think that'll be a really big improvement if just to show off the new technology. And they just market it as a drop-in replacement.
Because that was the problem with the new
that'll look
3DS.
great.
You can barely tell what the improvements were.
Yes,
But
but now we're hooking it up to the
web
TV where
browser
it's
is
way
fast.
more obvious.
the web browser is fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they do with their storage? Because Animal Crossing New Horizons has bad loading times. Like you walk into
That's
a
true.
house, and it takes a couple of seconds to load, then you go back out and it loads again. Just boosting up the game takes like a minute. Can they even match what the current consoles do?
That would be
A lot
interesting.
of games download onto an SD card, and that's not going to match an SSD.
No, that would probably be something they would improve with the next Switch, most likely, whatever they end up doing there. But that's a good question about load times, because now we see load times almost be non-existent with next gen platforms, the Series X and the PS5. Like you said in Spider-Man, they're not even there really. Even something like Demon Souls, it's very, very quick. You see the fog for like a second, then it's gone. So it's only few third-party games that have like longer load times that I've noticed, and even that's like. And we talk about longer load times back in the day, it was like a full minute. Now it's like, oh, that took 4 seconds for that thing to load. This is ridiculous. But that's unfortunately something I think we're going to live with through the rest of the Switch's current generation. I think it'll get a little better, but I don't think it's going to be like night and day difference.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking of, like I said, was that smaller little box that they release. Like a little PlayStation TV box they sell for cheap. Maybe it comes with a Pro controller. Maybe it's like $150. They just market it to people who are docked only, who don't want to spend $300 on a Switch. Or the other thing is they don't do anything, and we just continue on with this current Switch.
I feel like it would probably be like, it would look like one of those Joy-Con cradles that you can get, like those Joy-Con charging cradles.
Oh wow!
It would just be like that. 'Cause they need the Joy-Con. They want to give you the Joy-Con instead, for just because those work with everything. The Pro controller doesn't work with everything. So it's just like, yeah, you just
that's a good
click 'em on
point.
like that.
Because now I think about it, how else would you charge the Joy-Con if you don't have like the normal tablet look? You'd have to have something like, oh man, that thing would look really stupid.
Like, can you use the cradle as an actual Joy-Con grip as well, and just hold the entire console while playing? Like,
Yeah.
HDMI cable coming
I
out.
hope so.
It would be like a plug-and-play system, like the ones that you
Oh,
plug in to
God.
play Pac-Man with.
No.
Yeah,
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, like I made fun of it how like the PlayStation TV didn't do well,
Yeah.
but it's obvious a lot of Sony's strengths are Nintendo's weaknesses, but a lot of Nintendo's strengths are Sony's weaknesses, and I feel like Nintendo could sell something like that because they have IP that are much more like people want to buy Nintendo stuff just to play Nintendo games. People want to buy PlayStation stuff to play PlayStation games, but people usually buy PlayStations more for like, I want to play everything. I want to play third-party stuff as well, and I want to play this and that. So Sony IP doesn't attract as many people, I think, as like Nintendo IP, because like just look at Animal Crossing. Look how well the Switch sold this year. So I think having like a $100 option like that, and having just like a Switch that doesn't have a screen, just plugs into the TV, I think that would do quite well. But also, I don't know how well the set-top box market is doing right now. Like,
It would
that
need to
stuff
be
was really
noticeably
popular
more
a couple of years
powerful.
ago.
Here's the other
Yeah.
thing: Nintendo doesn't have a lot of streaming apps. They don't
Yeah,
have
that's just the
Netflix
thing.
and stuff, so
you
it's like
you can't be like, oh, buy this little thing for Netflix and stuff like that. But like, I don't know how well that stuff kind of does right now, just because like everybody has at least something in their house that plays Netflix.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well like the Roku boxes
You know-
themselves are doing or something.
you know
like
what I
that. So
realized?
I don't know how well that market is.
Do you know how Nintendo gets around the Joy-Con charging issue with a set-top box? They just don't package Joy-Cons with it. They just sell you the
it's one
box.
controller.
That's it.
Well,
Well,
they package one Joy-Con controller. I think that's what they do. They'll package one of them.
remember, this is the company that sold the new 3DS XL without a charge cable.
That's true.
So I mean, if you buy the Switch model, you can't play Mario Party.
They assume that you already have Joy-Cons, just like how they assumed you already had a power cable for your new 3DS XL back in the day.
I am going to duck out, but I have one dumb prediction
John.
before I go. So Nintendo have a bunch of streaming games at the moment. They have like Control, Hitman. What else was there? There's more, isn't there?
RE3
got leaked. And I think Resident Evil 7 was in Japan, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, of all things, was also one of the streaming games. I think they're going to have a really low library of those, but introduce a subscription package. So that's like $20 a month, something ridiculous.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Play these 6 games, and you can just play them whenever you want. As long
do you
as
think? So, real quick, do you think that playing into what Scott said before about exclusive games for a more powerful Switch, do you think that they could still release the game and not play on the regular Switch natively, but then they use the cloud service to at least give the person access to it? Do you think that's a strategy they might pursue?
Maybe. I don't think Nintendo would. I think third parties probably. Nintendo, I think they see too much value in the Switch being a hybrid.
Yeah.
And that's harder to do when you're on the go.
Yes, they need to get a 5G connection in their next gen. Cool.
Like the Vita.
Yeah. Hey, that was 3G and that was AT&T. Okay, they had 2 strikes immediately on that thing.
It's completely different. Yeah, that's why people didn't buy it.
All right, I'm gonna bounce.
Thanks, John. Have a good night. We'll see you. All right. So.
So when do you expect that Switch to come out then?
I'm thinking they announce it in early May, and then they release it in like the second half of June.
I feel like they may be really bold and announce it in January, release it by the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, I like that.
They did that.
Tell us right away.
They did that. That
was
the
announced
Switch.
Yeah.
So
well, they did that.
I know they didn't announce it, but they had their presentation in January and said, "No, it's come out in 2 months." I feel like they could do that again.
They did kind of a stupid thing with the new 3DS because they announced that in like September of 2014 only for Japan, and then they were like it'll come to North America next year, and it's just like, okay, so why would I buy a 3DS
exactly
that holiday?
Yep, that's the thing they run into. They're gonna be very delicate with the situation because the Switch keeps selling really well. I just feel like they'll announce it and then 6 weeks later they'll just release it to stores.
I think they were just kind of smug about it because Smash Brothers and Pokemon were coming out that holiday, so they were like, the 3DS is gonna do fine.
It's like you're gonna buy it anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I feel like the Switch is starting to show its age. I think, especially next to like the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think the thing is, I know a lot of people. People always bring this up when they go like, "Oh, with all these new consoles, well, Nintendo's gonna have so little third-party support." No, there's like 10 games that were like Xbox One and PS4 games that got ported over. You know, there's only a few games like that. Most of the Switch's third-party library has always been legacy titles or like lower end titles in general. It's kind of like, it's not as frequent that we get like a Doom, Wolfenstein 2, Rocket League, Outer Worlds. Like, there's not a Witcher 3. There's not a ton outside of those that are like, oh, like we're porting these down. So it's just like to lose games like that, I don't think is going to affect the Switch that much. People are already buying the Switch mainly for Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and then those games are kind of like a bonus. So honestly speaking, I think Nintendo feels like they don't really need to do like a huge leap, and they'll probably just wait till the next Switch to do like a massive like hardware increase. I feel like we're going to get like a redesigned Switch though, kind of like a DS Lite kind of deal where it's just like, oh, it's just aesthetically a little better and, you know, maybe more ergonomic, maybe bigger screen, you know, better screen overall. Maybe like a increased processing power just to like make things quicker, even though the Switch is already quick in terms of menu stuff.
A better fan. But maybe like
my
Switch runs hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is doing okay. Did you upgrade to like the better battery one? Or
no, I still have a launch model.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I was an idiot and I went to the new one. And because of that, I messed up while transferring stuff. So now all my play times are messed up. Like on my profile, where it's just like, yeah, it says like, you've only played Breath of the Wild for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like that's super. It's super.
Maybe they can put in enough processing power to add folders.
That'd
be nice.
Maybe that sounds like maybe blue.
That sounds like a
blue theme.
That sounds like some next gen talk right there. I don't know.
It's folders. Only an SSD can really. Actually, not even the PS5 doesn't have folders, so SSD
maybe it's a 3DS only feature. Yeah. Folders. Yeah.
Well, the PS5 also doesn't have a web browser, so we're never gonna get that either.
That's true.
Yeah. I said Netflix comes to the Switch as a cartridge only. That's one of my.
That would be
predictions,
amazing.
Actually, you know what? I would buy that.
They did with the Wii.
The old Wii discs, yeah.
I would buy that.
They did that
So-
with the Wii.
So they were talking about some of the online stuff now. Let's go over to that. Nintendo Switch Online as the last section we had here. People, everyone expects Nintendo to keep doing more and more with it, and they keep not doing more with it.
I mean, like at a bare bones level,
they did the icon
multiplayer games online. They added the other little icon on the front, so you have like a little hub for it. Cute for $20 a year. I haven't really been asking for much more because all the other companies are asking for a whole lot more, and I'm not enjoying them as much. Like besides Game Pass, $20 a year just to play Smash or Mario Kart and a bunch of Super Nintendo games. That's fine, and if they just add more retro games, that's all I want. But I'm basic.
I think looking at the retro side of things, you're getting a lot for $20 a year.
Yeah.
I think you're getting more than your value is worth out of that. So it's just like that's the thing. I want them to add more, but I feel like if they're gonna add more, they're gonna introduce higher price tiers.
Yes,
because
they will.
I think $20 a year, you're already getting quite a lot for that.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like NES and SNES.
Nintendo's the company that like has to really think about like knocking down prices for their first party games during sales.
They don't want to devalue stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
that's why I still have a hard
stuff.
time looking at the selection of games they have right now for the online, and it's $20 a year, and it's like all these Super Nintendo, all these Nintendo games. I'm like, eventually something's gonna have to break. Either they stop putting these games on there at even it's not even as frequent now, but like all the Donkey Kongs are on there from the Super Nintendo, you know, the Zeldas on there, all these games.
Yeah, that was pretty much like just for those 3 games alone on the Wii U, you'd be paying more than $20.
Yeah.
So like it's a good value. Like I think we're past the point in 2018 where everybody was kind of complaining about it. And I think we're all pretty content with like, $20 a year. Of course, the online obviously could be better, but I feel like for $20 a year, you get quite a bit with that. But I feel like there's potential they will introduce Game Boy, and I feel like that could be a part of the $20.
Yeah.
But they could also introduce N64 as well, because I feel like the Mario 3D All-Stars collection, that being delisted, I think that kind of may point us to N64 being available in that form. But N64 is definitely not going to be a part of that $20. You're going to pay at least $10 more for that.
I think there's going to be more licensing involved too.
Yeah,
like
N64, there's way more. There's way more going on with that, and like there's way more value there. You have 4 players. Having online for a lot of those 4-player games will be amazing for the first time.
Cool.
Getting Mario Kart 64 online, there's no way that'll just be part of the $20.
Yeah, $20 is, and like they originally did it for $20 because I think they knew what they were offering was not worth a lot.
Yeah.
And now I think they're getting to a point where it is starting to become worth it, even though like I don't look at it from an online perspective. From an online perspective, it's a little but from like a value perspective of what I'm getting, like I can play Tetris 99 and Mario 35. Those are pretty cool. And then the retro games on top of that. But N64 is a little too it's a little too beefy they're too beefy of a game of games to offer just a part of that subscription.
Yeah, I think also if you bring in like these different tiers, it would then give them the ability to add more systems that people want. Like GameCube could eventually show up, but you got to pay a little more for it if you want that tier. So they could absolutely split in tiers. They could introduce just Wii games in if they want and have like a tier for that. They could do all the Game Boy Advance. That could be a tier.
That gets a little weird though with GameCube and Wii, because those games are getting pretty big, and I think they can do NES and SNES through an app because they're so small.
Yeah.
So it's getting to a point where like everybody's like, I really want GameCube online, and I do too, but I'm also like, maybe GameCube is where the cutoff is, and they just offer those as like games on the eShop or whatnot.
But if they have their own app and you go into it like Game Pass we were talking about, and then you pick it, but you have to download it because it's like 1.8 gigabytes or something, like a lot of GameCube games are.
I can see that.
You just download it and then you play it, and because they're getting this extra tier, like let's say it's $10 more per year or something. So now your subscription goes up to $30 a year. That would actually work for Nintendo if they think about, oh, we are getting more revenue, but we can also spend more time developing. Like maybe they do want to do Smash Melee Online as an example, things like that. And I would pay it anyway because GameCube would be awesome on the Switch.
Yeah, so. And they very clearly have all these consoles in mind. Like when they put the Switch Online little app thing on the menu where they have like the timelines of NES and Super Nintendo. Like they very clearly, like why would they do that just for 2 consoles?
Yep.
Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine Game Boy is not hype enough.
On.
Yeah, but in a Game Boy, I don't think it's hype enough to justify a
monochrome Game Boy. That's all it's gonna be.
Old Game Boy.
I would like that though. Those games don't get re-released as much, so
it'd be cool,
like,
but I don't think it'd be a big deal.
That'd be neat.
You'd run out of steam in like 6 months.
It'd be neat for me. Yeah.
Game Boy.
No, I think
the Wario Land games, and that's it.
You think?
I would love that.
You think they come together with Microsoft, like we saw some of those rumors pop up last night or the night before, where they saw Banjo-Kazooie and Blast Corps randomly show up on Nintendo's website?
How did that even randomly show up?
That's the thing. That's what people are saying. How does that? Someone obviously put it into like the little data sheet in the background for that a website to show up. So
I mean, it's not even just Banjo-Kazooie, but it was Blast Corps as well.
Yeah, and it had Microsoft Japan as the publisher.
What the hell?
Yeah, I feel like there's potential. What was it like? There's potential that there were talks about doing that on the Wii U, like maybe back in the day. So maybe that came up, and I feel like there's still ongoing talks because their relationship is quite good. So I feel like there's still a potential that they would be like. That Microsoft could. I think Microsoft obviously sees value in putting Banjo-Kazooie on Switch, or like those old rare games.
Oh, because the amount of they would actually, if that was just if they took the 360, which is now the Xbox One in this series version of Banjo-Kazooie, which is an awesome version of the game, dropped it on the Switch as like $10 for Kazooie and $10 for Tooie, they would probably sell a ridiculous amount of those.
So that's a weird thing with the N64. So many of those games now have ultimately better versions of their existing ROMs. So if they just do an N64 service and throw basic N64, Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, if they get Banjo on there, like these clearly inferior versions of the game, I don't know. It's just weird.
I kind of hope that they would. I kind of hope they would go just a little further, especially if we are paying a higher tier price for it, like how we got Mario 64 in the 3D All-Stars collection, like that at least, where it looks cleaner overall. And like we'll see with Kazooie,
takes effort instead of just a drag and drop ROM file.
They would have to spend some time with it, exactly. And it's like, will Nintendo do that?
I don't think they're gonna like approach Konami and get Mystical Ninja on the 64 servers, and like to upgrade it to that capacity. You know,
it'd be interesting. What if they do a tier for it, but then what if they also allow you to just buy it outright if you want?
That'd be fine.
That's what I wanted them to do when they announced like the Switch Online like thing. Because I'm what if this service goes down? And then I kind of would want to have these games on my Switch, maybe.
Like I think NES and Super Nintendo, I'm fine with not owning because I've played those games on so many different devices. And 64 would immediately feel more premium.
Yes.
Just right off the bat. If you had to spend $10 to get Mario Kart 64 and it had online play, I don't think anybody would complain.
I think the portable N64 and the portable GameCube factor is exciting for people to have that, especially if they do local like co-op or local wireless play for the Switch, where everyone's at like a convention and everyone has Mario Kart 64 on their Switch, and everyone just
finally do the 8-player double dash just with 8 switches.
Oh, see, there we go. Everyone's just kind of hanging out, like, yeah, all right, let's jump in a room here. That would be cool.
I could see them attaching those as separate software files, like Mario 35 and Tetris 99, but a dedicated app for emulation. I feel like N64 is a weird area, and then you, like Scott said, you get too powerful. Because the being able to turn these ROMs on and off with save states so quickly is so good, and they can definitely do that with Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, maybe 64. But I feel like you're getting into a weird gray area with impossibilities of what we realistically have.
Well, what do you guys think they do this year then, coming up 2021? Because they didn't add a new console this year, even though everyone kind of thought they'd at least add some new systems.
Because they added Donkey Kong Country 3. They didn't need to add anything.
I can see a very slow. I can see a very slow rollout. I could see maybe they do it where they delist 3D All Stars and then sell all 3 games as individual apps, and then just slowly roll out. Maybe Switch Online users get a discount for purchasing the games. Like it's $10 to get Donkey Kong Country Returns, but maybe it's like $7.50 if you have the Switch Online service, something like that, and then it goes into a similar app.
Okay,
maybe.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Game Boy is also obvious.
I think they kind of have to introduce new systems next year because it's like there's not a ton left for them to do first party wise on SNES and NES. They have Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings,
Mario RPG.
and they have Mario RPG but the other Square stuff, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, they're not putting that on the app. Those are getting sold by them separately. And
Nintendo's not going to be like, we're going to finally localize Mario and Wario. It's finally the time. They're not going to do that.
Oh, I wrote down in one of my things Mario and Wario 99.
Of course.
It's 99.
So I think they do Game Boy. I think you're right, Scott. Yep. That's what I'm kind of thinking too. Monochrome Game Boy. They can't do Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. That's like premium tier stuff.
I would like that. I would like that. I would be okay with it.
I think they do monochrome Game Boy. I think they bring in the basics. They have like a Mario game thrown on there. Maybe they take one of the Donkey Kong games thrown on there, and then they go get Pokemon Yellow and they drop it on there too. And that's that coincides with the Pokemon 25th anniversary as well, and that gets people excited for Game Boy.
I don't know, man. I feel like they might do something like they did with Fire Emblem, where that's going to be a $5, $10 eShop download.
It could be a 6-month window.
I don't know. Yeah, because those are going to be weird with the link cable and stuff. Well, they probably have to
online link cable, and they have Pokemon Home or whatever service is. They probably incorporate that into the Game Boy Online app, regardless, like link cable support kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Kind of like that. I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like Pokemon they'd want to sell separately because they know for a fact that would sell crazy well.
Yeah, it would.
It would sell millions. Like it would literally sell millions. So like I don't know. I feel like they're definitely going to introduce new systems because they're running out of stuff to kind of put out there with ease. But in terms of other things with the online service, I don't know. Do you guys think they're gonna do like another free game like they did with Mario 35?
I really like the idea of doing a new Four Swords.
I like that too. I think you're dead on with that, Scott.
I think that's a really good idea.
That would be really popular. They already
did that with DSiWare. They already did that with DSiWare, and it did well. And I feel like that might happen again. I don't know why I wrote down Nintendo trivia game for NSO. It would be like a quiz show for Nintendo trivia.
The only thing I can think of is that they grab one of those franchises that they have not made much for recently, and maybe it's because it's too close, like it's a racing game like F-Zero. If they take that and they do something with that for the Nintendo Switch Online service, where they just do a free version of that's like a bunch of people on a track or something.
They've only really done simple 2D games. Nintendo's done, right? So like I don't know, I'd almost expect kind of like more 2D stuff, but 3D stuff, that'll be fair. But it's also like I don't know. I don't know what the future of F-Zero.
I guess like my expectations are so low because right now it's only $20 a month compared to paying whatever it is for PlayStation Plus.
Well, that was kind of their strategy, was to make it low enough to where people would be like, yeah, I guess. And that's kind of
a family plan too, so I only pay like $4 a year.
Yeah, but I will at least give, like, you mentioned like Sony as an example. They have been bringing some pretty good games out for PlayStation Plus members. Now they have the collections, which has a lot of the PS4 titles.
And Microsoft has just been... What is
Game Pass is
their games for gold
that you can't even compete with. That is
and they already have Game Pass, so it's fine.
Nintendo's never going to be like, for $60 a year you get all the first party games. Like they're never going to do that.
That's true. They're not going to do that with game, like how Game Pass does it. No, they won't do something like that. But they sell a lot of games.
I wish they would advertise their game trials more, because there's only like a few of them that's ever happened, and they just immediately they're like, hey, this is happening, and then 2 days later, okay.
They just did Crash Team Racing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just randomly that.
It's a week long.
If this goes into the Nintendo Switch Online discussion, there's 3 more characters left for Smash Brothers. And I feel like I don't know. I'm not saying the Crash Team Racing thing confirms Crash is going to be there. I feel like it just adds more to it than takes away.
I think Crash has earned his spot in Smash at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he does. I feel like he'd be a solid final character.
Yeah. Well, the final character is Sakurai himself. He'll just put himself in the game, right?
Okay.
He's the last character. I don't think anyone will complain. So then we got Crash, and then they got one more. It could be Sora. There you go. We're all good.
I said, Square Enix is done, man.
That's how they get you, though. They get you to drop your guard, and then Sora rolls right in there.
They're just gonna do Byleth again. That's gonna
Just
be the
again.
character's one. It's just gonna be called Byleth again.
It's just a Byleth parentheses again. Just
Yeah. It's gonna be the exact same character. I wrote down like I think there's gonna be another Nintendo rep, whether it's like it could be Xenoblade 2, like Rex and Pyra. Maybe a Zelda rep since it's gonna be Zelda's year, or a Pokemon. I think Pokemon might be most likely.
I like Dante from Devil May Cry. Getting in. I know it's
as someone who doesn't play Devil May Cry, I don't see the appeal of just a random looking white dude with white hair and a sword. Like I don't see the appeal. Granted, it's the same. You can argue about any other anime character with a sword, but
Dante with Echo Fighter with Nero.
You can argue about that with Sephiroth. He's a white guy. Yeah. We already have a white guy with
Dante, and then Nero's his Echo Fighter. There you go.
Okay.
I said Ryu Hayabusa, even though like
that's a good one
I was
too.
always like, man, we already have a Ryu in the game. We don't need another Ryu.
We have two. There's two Roys in the game, so we have two Ryus.
Yeah, and the announcer is slightly different for both of them. It's Roy and then Roy.
Oh yeah, they're gonna wrap up. Oh yeah, they're gonna wrap that up this year coming up, aren't they? Yeah, that's right.
Unless they announce the third to pass, if they want to stop getting money.
It's time for Sakurai to go do something else.
I think they're probably done after that. Like I feel like they're like, hey, we wouldn't be opposed to another round, but I think even there's just like, yeah, we should probably probably move on. But I think like Ryu, Crash, and then like another Nintendo character.
I'm really pulling for Doom Guy. Doom Guy, I think, would be great.
That would be that or Master Chief would be a big reveal.
Yeah,
I think Master Chief would be big, but we already got Steve. Even though Steve isn't really he's more of a Mojang rep than a Microsoft one because they added Mojang to the title screen in terms of like the credits. So that they may not consider that a Microsoft rep. They may consider that a Mojang rep, but it's still a Microsoft.
Halo was almost on the DS. That's the thing. There hasn't been a Halo game on Nintendo yet.
Coming to Switch rumors, they can associate that.
Yeah, they could do something with that.
Well, what do you think Microsoft's gonna do with Nintendo this year?
I think the Banjo ports.
I think Banjo, and I do wonder if they would try to move Halo in some way over, even if it was like a stream, because they've been doing a lot of these streaming games now. If they just move something for Halo over with their streaming stuff, like we see Hitman coming to the Switch through streaming, or they just move the original Halo over with that like the anniversary collection or the anniversary thing they did where it made the visuals better for the 360. Yeah. Just move that over. Just that way they can put Master Chief in Smash.
The thing is, like, all of Microsoft's support for Nintendo Switch has been fairly in line with, like, the Nintendo Switch, like, what you expect on Nintendo Switch. You know, Cuphead, even though that wasn't really Microsoft just kind of gave them the okay to kind of do whatever they want. Yeah. With the Cuphead developers. Then Ori, I mean, that was specifically done by Microsoft, but that just made sense because Ori is just, like, it's a Metroidvania type 2D platformer. It's just like that just works on,
I wonder if like
Switch.
Psychonauts 2, I wonder if that could get a port to the Switch.
That would be I mean
that
that's
game was already
like,
announced for everything. That is coming to PlayStation as well.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at like I could see that on the Switch. That's not a bad one to drop.
I feel like Banjo at a bare minimum. Ray Replay would be nice, but I think Donkey Kong Country going to the Super Nintendo servers kind of killed that rumor because that would have been really cool, a Nintendo version of Rare Replay.
About
Rare Replay is kind of weird because a lot of the games are Xbox 360 files,
right?
Like on the Xbox One, so it'd be like it wouldn't be that simple of a port. You'd kind of have to remake it entirely, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's a little.
Which I think is Banjo Kazooie and Tooie.
What about like Viva Pinata?
Which was on the DS.
That's true.
It was on the DS.
Yeah, just an idea.
So
just throw that on there.
That would make sense.
What if it was a new Viva Pinata? That would be cool.
Sure. Okay, that would come to Xbox first, and then it might come to Switch afterwards, I think. Yeah.
Once they start dropping GameCube games, they put Star Fox Adventures up.
See, now we're talking.
Yeah. Do you think so do you think like Game Pass and xCloud would come to Switch like within the year or something?
I can see xCloud. I don't know about a dedicated Game Pass.
Well, Game Pass and xCloud probably have to be tied together. I think it'd show up like that.
Well, I can see it just being a stream. Like if we're talking about streaming games, like with Control and whatnot, I could see them trying to do something like that because of how different the power levels are for both consoles.
The word is
there's a Game Pass Lite.
The word is they've been talking and that they're trying to figure out the money situation, which is interesting because if you have Game Pass on the Switch and let's say Doom Eternal on Game Pass on the Switch and you just fire up the app and you play it, why would you buy Doom Eternal then on the Switch that just released?
Yeah, I guess you have kind of the incentive where it's just like, oh, Doom Eternal, you can play anywhere if you want to buy that.
I mean, to be fair, you can still buy the games on Xbox also.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be the same thing.
So I think if Game Pass shows up on the Switch, it's going to be a curated Game Pass. Like they're going to take some stuff out, leave some stuff in, things that aren't on the Switch basically, but are Microsoft stuff. I mean,
most of the Game Pass are just indie games that just keep coming out and cycling through every couple of months. I think that would be cool. Yeah. I don't think like you would see Yakuza make the jump. I don't think Nier would make the jump yet. That would be a dedicated software if they ever ported that. Same with Banjo if they ever did that.
And what do you think? Do you think there will be any like kind of like ports like Doom Eternal or the Outer Worlds this year where it's just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that to come
Cyberpunk 27.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't doubt seeing like a streaming version of that, kind of like Hitman.
I could see streaming
or something. Yeah.
Apparently works well on Stadia, so that I could actually see something like a streaming version of it. That would be funny because the game crashes a lot. I think it crashed like 11 or 12 times for me to beat the game. I kind of want
to buy it just to see
I mean,
it on PS4.
I got 35 hours out of it.
Nice.
It was fun.
I gotta finish Hyrule Warriors. And
you're buying it on the PS4. Don't buy it on the PS4. Well, buy it on the PS4 but play it on the PS5
No, I want to see
as a YouTuber, the PS4 version of Cyberpunk seems great. So if they do a Switch port, that's even better.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. No, I think I don't know. I think Nier. Yeah, like you said, like Nier Automata.
Nier would be a good one to bring over.
I know cool. Capcom's already said they don't have any plans, but RE2 and 3 getting dedicated ports, not like a cloud version. RE2 would be great because that game was incredible. All the other Resident Evil games do well on Switch. So
yeah, do you think they would potentially do something like a Monster Hunter Rise where they have an exclusive Resident Evil that's like more like more dedicated? They've done that on the Wii with like the Umbrella Chronicles and stuff like that.
There actually is a Resident Evil that's coming out for the Switch.
Yeah, they just haven't announced it. Yeah,
it's part of their leaked stuff. Yeah, so that is happening. I think that's supposed to. I think people are talking about being Revelations 3 maybe.
But I think also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah. Never mind. Well, there was also like a Mega Man that was leaked too that they were working on. You think that was like X9 then?
I know.
It probably won't be because it'll make me happy. So it's not gonna be X9. It's gonna be something else. It'll be something completely different.
It's gonna be like that Famicom board game.
Oh, that's fine. That's just Fortune Street. This was Fortune Street on the Famicom. So
there you go, Fortune Street. Has that come to Switch yet?
Not yet. We need Square Enix to work on that.
Yeah, there you go, Fortune Street.
I know next year is Sonic's anniversary too, so it's probably going to be like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 probably get ported over with something new along there.
I think the port.
Do you think?
I think the port that everyone's going to be shocked about is Persona 5. There you go.
Shocked.
I said it.
Like, that's like
I said
I think everybody expected that, and then everybody gave up. So
I said it.
I don't know, vanilla Persona 5 or Royal.
Oh no, it'll be vanilla. Then they'll release Royal next year.
Yeah.
The following year.
Yeah. It's Atlas, so they'll probably be like, oh yeah, we're making Persona 5 for the Switch, and then Royal will come out next year. So people will be, why would I buy Persona 5? No, I don't know. I get, yeah. I mean, Persona 5 would definitely work. It came out for PS3 and whatnot. You know, I don't know. Well, with Sonic, like, yeah, they could probably do like. Do you think they just do a port of Adventure 1 and 2?
I think the PC versions of SA 1 and 2.
So Sonic, interesting. You think Sonic Adventure 3 is their next Sonic game?
No, God, no. I have no faith whatsoever in whatever main new game they're working on. But if I can get Sonic Adventure 2 on the go, I'd be okay with that.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
The thing is, they know Forces was kind of a wet sack. They were just like. That's
probably the best description of Forces that I've heard.
Yeah. I mean, bare minimum, it works.
That's true.
But then
you can
every single thing, you can find something critically bad about it. Or you can be like, the level design is just boring. It's not fun. I don't know. Like, that's just the thing. I think they lost a lot of good people after Generations, and they work at Nintendo now. Like, a lot of the people that made Generations so good, I think they work at NCL now.
So here's an interesting one, because you said, what's a big game that would like surprise people if it got ported? So the only game I can think of that would really surprise me that at least maybe would happen would be Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Sure,
because
Was it a 1-year exclusive?
Yeah, it's gonna run up soon.
Yeah.
So while I think they're just gonna announce it on Xbox and PC, it would legitimately shock me if they were like, "Oh, it's also on the Switch. It's coming the same time on all the platforms." I'd be like, "Wow, okay, that's like Witcher 3 level of surprise."
Yeah,
I think.
the thing is, like they completely skipped over 15. They just ported the Pocket Edition.
They tried,
So
but that was running on the Luminous engine, and the Luminous engine has a hard time running on the Luminous engine, so it struggled, and they were like, "Yeah, this is gonna work," but Final Fantasy 7 Remake is on Unreal Engine, and that would be a bit more compatible, we'll say.
That Witcher 3 magic on it, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I almost wonder what I feel like Square would go to somebody to do it. Who knows? Maybe they have find a porting studio like Virtuos or someone who can help them with it.
Well, yeah, they could do something like that. I feel like Final Fantasy stuff, regardless, will happen on the Switch next year, mainly because like I don't really know if Sephiroth is like kind of like a sign of like, oh yeah, we're gonna do stuff on the Switch, because like I don't think Smash DLC characters really mean that, because it's just like, oh, Joker was the first one, right, and we barely got anything out of that. I feel like a lot of those characters are just like, hey, this is an iconic character, and this kind of like is like a good like it just keeps our relationship with these companies very strong, and whatnot. So I think like Sephiroth was kind of like, oh, let's do that. But like I feel like if we want to like kind of like go all conspiracy theory, maybe like they could do like maybe like an HD version of like Crisis Core.
I would like that. That would be really cool if they did that.
They could do that. They would probably port that to like PS4 and PS5 or PS4 and Xbox One or Xbox Series X as well. But
I don't want to like because Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Did you guys play it? Did you guys play it?
I haven't, because I know there's going to be a definitive edition, so I'm just waiting.
Oh my gosh!
I played Persona 5, and that's why I haven't played Royal yet. I'm not going to dedicate another 100 hours. And I'm
you can go play Final Fantasy 7 Remake. It's fine. It's fine. The DLC is literally going to just be the next game. You're okay to go play it. It's been on sale a lot recently too. It's been like $25 or $30 recently. Yeah. Because the Crisis Core would make a lot of sense with the ending of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. They can move Crisis Core over to get people familiar with certain characters a bit better, is what I'll say.
Well, Square has said like they're like, hey, we wanna port our entire backlog to new systems. I think they said that at one point.
Yep.
Which really that's gonna happen. Also, how about Chrono Trigger? The PC version can come to.
No. Get the DS version.
Yeah. No, they're gonna do the PC version.
It's like the PC version looks terrible.
Just stupid looking Dragon Quest ports of 1 through 3 where they're just like, ugh. This doesn't look that great. I also said Nintendo Selects would happen for Nintendo Switch this year.
I would like to see that happen.
Where would they even fit the ugly border on that small box?
Wait, does that mean that 1-2 Switch will be $20 now?
Yeah, it's gonna be 1-2 Switch. It's gonna be ARMS.
That game's still $50, by the way.
Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah, the first fitness boxing will finally get cheap because that game's going up in price.
I can't believe 1-2 Switch is still $50. That blows my mind sometimes when I see it on the
store
shelves.
I don't think it's really in print that much right now. Whenever I go to like Best Buy, I don't see it anymore. It's not on the shelf, I think they're just like, yeah, it's still $50, but we're not really.
That's got Nintendo Selects written all over it right there for $20.
Yeah.
And ARMS.
Yeah,
ARMS is a good one too.
They did Nintendo Select with like a Frozen game on 3DS, so really anything's possible.
Yeah, back in the GameCube, everything got Player's Choice. It was like everything would get Player's Choice, or whatnot,
and they ruined so many box arts back then.
Yeah, now it's a lot more like these are just the PlayStation hits are just pretty much just like mostly just Sony release titles. Persona 5 got it, and a few other games got it, but it's mostly just like the Sony titles. And then Nintendo Selects was kind of the same thing, where it was pretty much just Nintendo published stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot of stuff they do. I know at Best Buy they now have like a $20 bin of like games. I know like Puyo Puyo Tetris is there and Super Bomberman R, but I feel like Nintendo Selects can happen. I feel like there are some games that have definitely, a lot of Nintendo games hold their value when they continue to sell. But there are some, like, I don't think ARMS is selling that much right now. I think if you drop that to $20 with Min Min and Smash, then it's kind of like, hey, like there's more, you're going to get more sales out of that one. So, I don't know, 4 years in, I feel like that might happen.
Yeah, it looks like 2021 is going to be pretty good, I think. I think so for the Switch.
I think so.
So, very cool. Well, thanks gentlemen for joining me today as we look towards Nintendo in 2021. We got Scott the Waz, we got AntDude. Make sure you guys check their channels out in the description below. And I guess we had John here from Nintendo Live, so I'll just link his Twitter down in the description. We'll do that. Go check him out on Twitter. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.